Hey guys, welcome back to BEC Preliminary course. How's everything? Now last time, we studied the first part of the career break. We discussed some common problems we may face at workplaces, and then we studied how to present the factory health and safety regulations to new employees. And lastly, we had a quick discussion of what the Google offices are like. Now, after evaluating the physical working conditions in your current company, it's time for you to give it serious thought on whether you should take a career break or not. But in doing that, we need to take a thorough assessment of our strengths and weaknesses, figure out our plans for the next step, and make the final move. And these are exactly what we're going to talk about in today's class. So first of all, let's have a self-reflection. What do you think is the best career for you? Do you enjoy what you are doing now? Great job. 好，说实话哈，这不是我第一次被问到这样的问题。那当我们在工作上遇到困难的时候呢，我们会问自己，这条道路适合我吗？那除了做现在的这个工作，我的职业生涯有没有其他的可能性？很多时候呢，我们多问自己这些问题，可以帮助我们理清自己真正需要的、想要的是什么。Now, maybe not all of us could have a clear idea of what we're good at or what we enjoy doing. That's why an inventory like this could be of much help. Now here, let's take a look at this inventory and tell me, what is this inventory about? Great job. So this is a career inventory. Now, how do you think it could be useful? Great job. So career inventories can help people get a better understanding of what their job or career options are. And some career guidance companies and some schools would use these tools to help people make successful career choices. Okay then. Now let me ask you this question. Have you ever taken an inventory like this one before? Was it useful? Well, frankly, I've taken several inventories like this one before, and the results show that I would have a fulfilling career as a teacher, since I was said to have a big heart and take pleasure in helping others. And actually, I agree with them, as I am enjoying what I'm doing now. Now, here, I'd like you to do this inventory. So here, please check the activities that you like to do. And then, write the number of check marks you have by each color. Great job! Now here, let's take a look at your answers. Okay, please take a look at your answers and answer the questions below. First, which field or fields did you have the most check marks in? And second, were you surprised by your results? Explain. And the last one, what are some jobs or professions in that field? Great job. Well, for me, I have the most check marks in the social work field, and I'm not at all surprised by this result since I've always known that I'm fit for this field. And the jobs and professions in this field may include social worker, therapist, marriage counselor, etc. Okay, that's all for this part. So now you've known what career would fit you the most. Let me ask you this. Is it common to change life or work plans before settling on something? And please list the major changes that occur in a person's family life and working life. And here below, I've already listed some of them, like a career or job choice, a field of study, a marriage, a divorce, the choice of a boyfriend or girlfriend, or some others. And after doing that, I'd like you to tell us about a change you have experienced. Great job. OK, 那么前段时间呢，老师在读一本《Tuesday with Maury》这样一本书。那么在书中呢，身患绝症的这个老教授，他对我们的文化进行了一个反思。他说，我们的文化呢，一直都在教我们一些错误的东西。他一直在给我们灌输，什么东西都是越多越好，物质的东西越多越好，商业活动越多越好，钱越多越好。那么这样的文化被灌输很多次之后呢，人们开始本能的相信这就是对的，我们确实是需要去追求更多的东西，更好的东西，因为越多越好 ，the more the better。于是越来越多的像我们这样的年轻人呢，就投入到了商场当中的激烈的竞争。每个人呢都身心俱疲，但是从来没有人，或者说很少人会真正的反思这个东西是不是我们需要的，这些东西是不是我们想要的，我们是不是该反思一下这种文化。的确我们看一下我们身边的人，甚至呢看一下自己，我们是不是每天都处于这样激烈的竞争当中，却很少反思自己内心真正的需求是什么，我们是不是要逃离这种激烈的竞争。Now here, we're about to read an article about two couples who have just escaped the rat race. Now here, the rat race means 激烈的竞争 and escape the rat race means 逃离这些激烈的竞争。Now here, let's read this article and find out how did they do it and how well did they do it. But first of all, let's take a look at the photographs in the magazine article below about people who have escaped the rat race. And answer the question, do the pictures show them before or after their escape? Great job. So the picture below show them after their escape, right? Now, from the picture, they seemed very happy and relaxed. And it seems like they have successfully escaped the rat race. But how did they do it? What were their lives like before their escape? Here, let's read this article and find out. So here, please take a look at this article and complete the table. Great job. Now here, let's check your answers. Now, Peter van der Groot used to work in London, but now he lives in the countryside. While Bob and Nanda Brand used to work in the city center, now they live in Italy. Very good job. 好，阅读完这篇文章之后呢，大家对文章当中的主人公逃离 rat race 前后的生活工作状态有了一个比较清晰的认识。那么接下来大家要做的呢，就是通过对这篇文章的学习来学会如何描述自己的工作和生活状态。So here, let's take a look at this article in detail. First of all, let's read the introductory part of this article. And after that, answer this question. How would the reader's experience with the article be different without this part? Great job. Now here, let's take a look. Say, does your 9 to 5 stress you out? Have you ever thought of escaping the rat race and doing something completely different? Well, here are some people who have done just that. So, in the beginning of this part, the writer asks 2 questions, and most readers would connect themselves to the 2 questions. 好，文章一上来呢，就先问2个问题哈。那么这2个问题呢，一个是问到一个朝9晚5的工作状态，有没有让你感觉身心俱疲？那么你有没有想到过要逃离这种无意义的竞争呢？这2个问题呢，能够引起读者的思考，和读者产生共鸣。那么读者呢，也会迫不及待地想继续往下读。那么大家可以设想一下，如果没有这段文章，而是一上来就说2个人的故事的话，那么读者呢，可能要花好长一段时间才能明白过来，那么这2个故事到底跟我有什么关系？ Okay, so this is the function of this introductory part. Now here, let's take a look at the language points in this part. Now the first sentence is, does your 9 to 5 stress you out? 9 to 5我们刚刚讲了是在描述朝9晚5的这样一个工作时间跟工作状态。And actually, we have other ways to describe our working hours. So if someone asks us, what are your working hours like? We can say, well, I am an office worker and it's a 9 to 5 job with regular working hours. Regular working hours. 工作时间呢比较有规律。And also, you can talk about the time when you start to work and when you finish work. And you can say, we have to clock in at 9 o'clock and clock out at 5 o'clock. So here, clock in, clock out means 打卡上下班. But some of you don't work regular working hours, but flexi time. So you may say, I work flexi time. And then probably some of you have to work in shifts, 轮班倒班. So probably you may have to be on the day shift 1 week and the night shift the next week. Day shift 日班, night shift 晚班. And lastly, some of you may don't have to commute to work, or shall we say, you don't have to be a commuter. 好，你不用在挤公交、坐地铁啊，或者说自己开车花很长的时间在上下班的路上，我们会说 I don't have to commute to work. I'm not a commuter because I work from home. 好，因为我可以在家上班。Okay, so much for the working hours. So next, let's talk about how you feel about your job. So we can say that my job stressed me out, or I'm suffering from job burnout. 已经是有工作倦怠感了哈。But if you think that your work is very interesting or gives you positive feelings, then you may say, well, it's very satisfying, it's very stimulating, it's very fascinating. But if you think that your work is not interesting, you can say, well, it's very dull, it's very boring, it's very uninteresting, it's very unstimulating. Or you think that your work involves doing the same things again and again, then you may say, it's too repetitive or it's too routine. And lastly, if you think your work is too difficult and makes you tired, you can say, well, it's too tiring, too tough, too hard, or it's too demanding. Alright then, so much for the introductory part. Now here, let's read the first part of Back to the Land and choose the best answer. Okay, great job. So, how old was Peter when he moved to the countryside? Great. So he was between 41 and 45 when he moved to the countryside. How do you know? Now here, let's take a look at this article. Here it says, in his early 40s, Peter van der Grit was a successful stockbroker at the London Stock Exchange with the typical rewards of success. A large, beautiful home and a very healthy bank account. So here it says, in his early 40s. In one's early 40s, 40岁出头. And here, let's take a look at some expressions concerning one's age. First of all, we have in one's late 30s. 它表示近40岁哈，30大出头了。In one's early 30s means 30出头，31到35。And lastly, at the age of 30, 30岁，30岁整。好，刚才这段文章当中呢，提到了 Peter 在他40岁出头的时候就已经是很成功了，有一个大大的漂亮的家，而且呢，存款也不错。Now here, let's take a look at some expressions concerning the payment. So when we are asked, how's the payment like? We can say, well, I'm very well paid, or I'm underpaid. And also, we can talk about the basic salary, 基本工资, and also the commission, 佣金, and also performance-based bonus, 绩效奖金, and lastly, some perks, 津贴. For example, probably your company would offer you free meals or free parking lot, and these are some perks. Okay, so much for this part. Now here, let's move on to the second part of Back to the Land and choose the best answer. Here we go. Great job. Let's take a look. So the reason why he moved to the countryside is because he wanted to spend more time with his family. 好，在前面这一段呢，我们了解到了 Peter 呢，在40岁出头的时候，就有了一些成功人的特点啊，有个大而漂亮的房子，存款也不错。But Peter worked long hours and saw little of his home and family. 好，工作时间太长，而且呢，没有太多的时间陪自己的家人。He enjoyed his job, yes, but he was never there to see his children growing up. 好，他很喜欢现在的工作，但是呢，他发现自己错失了孩子成长的这段时间。And that's why he chose to move to the countryside, so that he could have more time with his family and children. Now here, let's take a look at some other expressions on how do you feel about your job. So here, I'd like you to complete the sentences below with the words in the box. And just, all the sentences are about your feeling towards your job. Okay, let's do this. Now here, let's listen to the audio clip and check your answers. Here we go.
Well, my name's Lechzinska, and I'm an industrial electrician working in a large food processing plant in Gdansk in Poland. Basically, I like my job, apart from the smell. I'm hardly getting what's the going rate for my job in this part of the world, and unless I get a more competitive wage, I think I'll soon be moving on.
I'm Ganesh, and I work for the Indian subsidiary of a Swiss multinational as a pay clerk. The job doesn't sound too exciting, and it isn't. I've been in it for a few years now, and while computerization has meant big changes in the way we work, I feel I'm stuck in a rut and stagnating.
My name's Francesca Morelli. I'm on the go all the time and don't get much chance to wind down, not even at weekends. Working hours are reasonable, in fact, but the job is pretty high pressure, and I sometimes worry that in the long run it will affect my health.
My name's Darren Coral. The place I'm working at the moment is pretty dire, actually. I mean, no one seems to speak to anyone.
So, I'm Irenka, and I'm from Hungary. At present, I'm working as a trainee stockbroker with a big firm in Budapest. The money's good because we get a cut of the profits, and when I've made enough, I'll probably launch my own firm.
Great job. Now here, let's take a look. So we can use all of the 7 sentences to describe how we feel about our job. The first one, basically, I like my job, apart from the smell. Apart from, 除了办公室的气味不是很好呢，那我还是蛮喜欢我的工作的。Now the second one, I'm hardly getting what's the going rate for my job in this part of the world. 那这一点呢，这个人是在抱怨他的什么呀？对，工资福利不是很好哈。他是在抱怨自己公司给的这个工资没有竞争力，没有达到目前人才市场上一个现行的工资率 ，the going rate 现行价或者现行工资率。Now the third one, I feel I'm stuck in a rut and stagnating. 那么这句话呢是在抱怨他的什么呢？对了，在抱怨他个人的职业成长空间。好，他觉得他自己是一直被困在了这里而停滞不前。Now the fourth one, 那么这一句话呢，他是在抱怨自己出差太多了，没有什么机会停下来慢慢的做事情。On the go, 在路上，在出差。Now the fifth one, the job is pretty high pressure, and I sometimes worry that in the long run it will affect my health. 那这个呢，很显然是在抱怨自己的工作压力太大了。那么他担心呢，从长远来看，这个会影响到自己的健康。那我相信呢，电脑前的很多同学都面临这样的问题。Now the sixth one, the place I'm working at the moment is pretty dire. 那么这句话呢，他是在抱怨工作氛围有些压抑，那么同事之间呢不太说话哈，有些极端了。Now the seventh one, the money is good because you get a cut of the profits. 好，这一呢，他并不在抱怨说自己的工资福利不是很好，而只是说，工资不错，因为我们能够从公司的利润当中得到一定的分成。Okay, so much for all the 7 sentences that we can use to tell how you feel about your job. Now here, let's do this. What do you do now? And how do you feel about your job or study? Great job. Now here, let's move on to the second part of the article. Here, let's read the first paragraph of Life in the Sun and answer the questions. Ready? Here we go. Great job. So here, let's check your answers. So here, what type of service are Bob and Manda going to provide? So they're going to offer the guests somewhere to sleep and also something to eat in the morning. And we call this bed and breakfast. And the second one, what business experience have they had? So according to this part, they had none. They had no business experience of any kind. Therefore, it could be quite a challenge for them. 那么这一点呢，其实也是很多正在考虑 take a career break 的人的一个顾虑哈，就是如果你真的中断了你的职业生涯的话，那么在这期间你做些什么呢？如果你是想做一些自己一直以来都很想做的事情的话，那么这种职业中断所带来的挑战，你能够承受吗？ And here, for Bob and Manda, is quite a challenge for them to start their own business. And plus, they've also borrowed a lot of money from the bank to get started. Now here, let's take a look at some other expressions concerning money. Here, I'd like you to match the verbs in column A with the words in column B. And let me give you 10 seconds to do this. Very good job. Now here, let's check your answers. Okay, so here we have borrow money, earn income, earn money, go bankrupt, or go over budget, make a loss, make a profit, make an income, or make money. And also we have spend money. And here I would like you to practice your understanding of these expressions. So here, please complete the sentences with the expressions we have just learned. Okay, let's do this. Great job. Now here, let's check your answers. Great job. Now here, let's move on to the second paragraph of Life in the Sun and answer the question. Ready? Here we go. Okay, now let's check your answers. Say, where will their income come from? Okay, so according to this paragraph, their income would come from the selling of farm produce and from paying guests. Great job. So after the two stories of two couples who have escaped the rat race, now here, let me ask you this. Are you for or against escaping the rat race? And what would your plans be like after escaping the rat race? And you can talk about this by, say, telling about your current job, how you feel about your job, and your plans for the next step, and also your source of income once you have escaped the rat race. Okay, let's do this.
一起来做个小练习吧。
Okay, very good job and welcome back. Now, in the second part of today's class, we're going to go to a business networking event. Now, we know that at business networking events, we always talk about our work, our jobs, and careers. And the business networking event we're about to go and listen to is not an exception. Now here, Petra Shine and Alex Belanger meet at a conference. Now here, let's listen to their conversation and find out what are their jobs. Ready? Here we go.
Excuse me, could you pass me a plate?
Sure. You're Petra Shine, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
I thought so. You probably won't remember me, but I came for an interview for an accountancy job with you about 3 years ago.
Yes. Alex, isn't it? Belanger?
That's right.
I seem to remember that one of your hobbies was photography. It was a real passion.
You do have a good memory.
So what happened? We offered you a job, but you went to work for one of our competitors, Deutsche Bank, I seem to remember.
The conditions they gave me were better, I'm sorry to say.
I can understand that. So, are you still working there?
No, I've given up banking altogether. I worked for Deutsche Bank for a little more than 2 years, but I didn't really like the job. There was too much competition among the employees, and I didn't really like that.
Well, sometimes you have to be competitive if you want to make progress.
I know, but it wasn't for me.
So, what do you do now?
I've become a professional photographer.
You know, that doesn't surprise me. Are you in any particular sector?
I take portrait photos. I've just bought a studio, and I'm creating a library of photos which I'm going to publish on my website.
You must give me your web address.
Better than that, I can give you my business card. And what about you? Are you still in human resources?
Yes, I am. I've moved to the head office and I'm the manager there. So now I'm even busier than ever, you know.
Okay, great job. Now here, let's check your answers. So according to this conversation, Petra is a human resources manager, and Alex was an accountant. But now he is a professional photographer. 好，通过听刚刚这个对话呢，我们了解到他们俩呢是在谈最近的一些工作上的变化。那么在商务社交场合当中，我们跟其他人聊的也更多的也是一些工作和职业上的变化。那么接下来呢，我们继续来看一下 How do we talk about our career changes? Now here, let's listen to the first part of the conversation and choose the best answer. Ready? Here we go.
Excuse me, could you pass me a plate?
Sure. You're Petra Schein, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
I thought so. You probably won't remember me, but I came for an interview for an accountancy job with you about 3 years ago.
Yes. Alex, isn't it? Bélanger?
That's right.
Okay, here, let's take a look at the script for this part and check your answers. So here, Alex said, you probably won't remember me, but I came from an interview for an accountancy job with you about 3 years ago. So from this part, we learned that Petra and Alex have met before, but it's not because they used to be colleagues, but they met at an interview. 好，我们知道商务社交活动对于我们来说呢，是一个扩展人脉以及获取更多的商业机会、销售机会的一个很好的渠道。但是呢，并不是所有的人都能够在这种商业社交活动中有所收获。而我们没有收获的原因呢，很大程度是因为我们站在一群陌生人当中，我们不知道该如何开始跟陌生人说话。好，在这个对话当中，我们会发现 Petra 跟 Alex 刚开始呢也是没有认出来的。那么 Petra 说 Excuse me, could you pass me a plate? 好，你能帮我传一下那个碟子吗？那么其实啊，如果你是很有经验的、比较老道的这个职场人士的话，那么像这种 Could you pass me a plate? Could you pass me the salt? 其实呢是一种很好的搭讪的方式。好 ，Petra 成功破冰之后 ，Alex 说 Sure。然后呢，一抬头，发现了两个人真的是之前见过面的。那么于是啊，他们的这个对话就能够继续下去。So here, let's take a look at some ways to break the ice during a business networking event. So first of all, you can do this by directly introducing yourself. And when you're with someone you know but haven't met, you can say, You're Mr. Bones, aren't you? Hi, my name is Sally Smith. Excuse me, aren't you Miss Wang? Wow, it's great to finally get the chance to meet you. I've heard a lot about you. Okay, so if you're with someone you don't know at all, then you may say, We haven't met. I'm Paul Johnson. What's your name? I don't think we've met. My name is Alice Wang. Hello, my name is Sally Smith. What's yours? And when you're with someone you already know, then you may simply say hi or hello. Now, the second way to break the ice is by using a tag question. And you can do this by saying, Horrible weather, isn't it? Great hotel, isn't it? A beautiful day, isn't it? Splendid program, don't you think? The food here is really great, isn't it? It's been a long day, hasn't it? And in this way, you can get the other speaker to talk. Now, the third way to break the ice is by asking open questions. Like, where are you staying? How long have you been in Shanghai? How was your flight? Is this your first time here? What do you think of the food? When did you arrive? And lastly, you can break the ice by lightening the mood. And you can say things like, I love your earrings. I love your shoes. Okay, so much for the ice-breaking part. Now here, let's move on to the second part of this conversation. Let's listen to this part and focus on the words in blue. Here we go.
I seem to remember that one of your hobbies was photography. It was a real passion.
You do have a good memory.
So what happened? We offered you a job, but you went to work for one of our competitors. Deutsche Bank, I seem to remember.
The conditions they gave me were better, I'm sorry to say.
I can understand that. So, are you still working there?
No, I've given up banking altogether. I worked for Deutsche Bank for a little more than 2 years, but I didn't really like the job. There was too much competition among the employees, and I didn't really like that.
Well, sometimes you have to be competitive if you want to make progress.
好，最开始破冰之后呢，他们发现，3年之前他们是见过面的，那么很自然呢，这个对话就开始转变成一种叙旧了。Some catch up， 这3年你发生了什么样的变化？你都干了些什么？所以 Patrick 他说 ，I seem to remember that one of your hobbies was blah blah blah。这大家注意一下哈，他多次用的这个句型是 I seem to remember， 我好像记得。那么这个句型呢，用的是非常的确切哈。因为毕竟呢，他们俩是在3年之前一个面试当中有那么一面之缘。那么作为当时这个面试官的 Patrick 能够记得 Alex 已经是很不错了。所以啊，他对这些细节性的信息呢也不是太敢确定，所以他用 I seem to remember。好，这段话当中呢，他们也提到了哈，当时呢 Patrick 觉得 Alex 还不错，是一个比较中意的 candidate。于是呢，向这个 Alex 伸出了橄榄枝，但是呢Alex 他拒绝了这个 offer， 而是跑到了 Patrick 他们公司的对手那里去上班，因为啊 the conditions they gave me were better。 那么时隔3年之后呢 Patrick 还是很大度的说 I can understand that. So are you still working there? And Alex said, No, I've given up banking altogether. 我现在不在银行这个行业待了。There was too much competition among the employees, and I didn't really like that.那么其实啊，这一句话呢是跟一个企业的文化有关的，所以我们在谈论自己是喜欢这个工作还是不喜欢这个工作的时候呢，往往都会提到，我们喜欢这个公司的文化，我们不喜欢这个公司的文化。那么 how do we say it? Let's take a look. Now we may say we have an entrepreneurial culture. We're encouraged to look for new business and take risks.OK， 那如果说你们公司呢是这种创业型的公司，是创业型的团队的话，那么你可以这么说 Entrepreneurial Culture. The second one, people in my company are highly competitive. We battle each other for promotion and for bonuses. 这呢也是在说公司哈是竞争是非常激烈的。那么这一点呢跟 Alice 说的差不多。Now the third one, my company has a supportive culture. When we need them, we're sent on training courses.Every employee has a mentor. 那么如果说你们的公司呢是比较支持员工的成长的话，那么你可以说 has a supportive culture. 这个 every employee has a mentor. 那么 mentor 呢是指师傅，那每一个新的员工呢他都配有一个师傅。Now the fourth one, my company is quite informal. For example, it doesn't have a dress code. 那么我们公司呢是没有这些繁文缛节的哈，还比较的非正式一些。比如说我们平时穿的呢就比较的休闲。Okay, so much for the culture part. Now here, let's listen to the last part of this conversation and focus on the sentences in blue. Ready? Here we go.
I know, but it wasn't for me.
So, what do you do now?
I've become a professional photographer.
You know, that doesn't surprise me. Are you in any particular sector?
I take portrait photos.I've just bought a studio, and I'm creating a library of photos which I'm going to publish on my website.
You must give me your web address.
Better than that, I can give you my business card. And what about you? Are you still in human resources?
Yes, I am. I've moved to the head office, and I'm the manager there. So now I'm even busier than ever, you know.
好，那么这一段他们是在聊他们相互之间现在在做什么。我们知道哈 ，Alex 已经落成了一个职业的摄影家。那这个 Patrick 呢，他还是在原来的公司工作，但是呢，他已经转到公司总部去了，而且呢，成为了这个人力资源总监。好，我们注意一下哈，这里的前大半段都是在聊 Alex 最近的变化，因为毕竟呢 ，Alex 的人生极富有戏剧性，所以呢，花了比较多的时间在描述他的一些变化。但是呢，在商务社交场合当中呢，我们要注意 ，you need to keep the conversation going。你要使你们这个谈话、这个聊天不断的继续下去。 所以你不能一直说自己怎么样怎么样怎么样，而是呢你要把机会给别人，让别人说说，哎，你怎么样了？ So here Alex says, and what about you? So here, saying what about you is a very good way to let others speak and to make the conversation going. Okay, so much for this part. Now here I'd like you to talk about your company's culture. Say which of the things mentioned below are typical of your company's culture, and which would you like to be part of your company's culture? Okay, let's do this.
一起来做个小练习吧。
Very good job and welcome back. Now here, let's take a quick review of what we have talked about in today's class. So today, we continued talking about career break. In the first part of today's class, we talked about our life plans. And next, we talked about how to escape the rat race. And lastly, we spent some time talking about how to break the ice and how to keep the conversation going at a business networking event. Okay, guys, that's all for today. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next class. Bye.